Expedia Group Media Solutions, the global travel advertising platform connecting marketers with hundreds of millions of travelers across the Expedia Group brands, appointed in 2022 Rob Torres Senior Vice President. Recognized across the industry as a travel media leader in his role, Rob oversees Expedia Group's global advertising business, which inspires travel, enriches the shopping experience, and creates value for advertising partners and travelers alike through strategic and creative campaigns. Rob is building on the more than 20 years history of media solutions and plays an active role with the leadership team in shaping the future of the business with industry-leading offerings for partners. Thus, it is very interesting to better understand where it's heading in 2023, Expedia Group's media solutions. And one excellent way to do it is to chat with Rob Torres. Hello, Rob. Thanks a lot for your time and this session.
All right. Hello, Javier. Thanks for having me.
First of all, before beginning with the questions, I would appreciate if you could explain what is your current role at Expedia and also share your background so our audience can know you better.
Sure. Well, so you said a little bit about that. I had just come back to Expedia almost just a little over a year ago. I started back in April. And when I say start back, I am a boomerang. I was one of the original, not founders, but one of the original employees at Expedia way back in the late 90s, where I worked mainly on the hotel business and helping build that business way back when. I was there for about 7 years and then got a little call from a little company called Google, where I met this guy in 2006, and then ended up going to Google, leaving Expedia in 2006, joining Google to oversee their travel industry, which was starting to boom a little bit. They had just reorganized the sales organization there by industry, and they were looking for vertical leads, and travel was one of the big industries. So I ended up going there, and time flew by. I ended up being there almost 16 years and got a call to come back to Expedia and take a look at their advertising business, which was, like I said, just about a year ago. So I thought, wow, I spent a lot of time building quite a business at Google and developing a lot of products that weren't there 16, 17 years ago, and thought, well, maybe we could do something with Expedia's media solutions business. And so I thought this sounded like a great opportunity to go back and work on a company that is focused on travel, that 100% of the business is travel, with not quite the same at Google, because Google obviously is into a lot of businesses, because travel is very important, but it certainly isn't their number one industry. So it's kind of fun to be back at a travel-focused company. You certainly don't have to ever worry about trying to encourage somebody why we stay in travel. It's embedded in the company.
Well, Rob is very humble because he was not just in Google. He became a thought leader, a world travel leader, because he helped many large companies to evolve from the mid 2000s to what the travel world is today. At the beginning, we were trying to convince them of the importance of the online.
I'm telling you, yeah, I remember.
And also you were assessing, if I'm not wrong, Barack Obama. You were also assessing the World Travel, the forum, the international forum. So you have been involved in helping to save and redesign the travel industry, and to limit to reduce the gap between the traditional business, the technology, and try to differentiate what before were just tech companies and travel companies. Nowadays, it's almost impossible
to separate the two, right? I mean, it's, we used to think about trying to persuade people why digital distribution was a critical part of your marketing strategy. And now, of course, that's completely reversed. It is the marketing strategy to some extent.
Before focusing on Expedia Media Solutions, I think it would be interesting to give some general context of the size of Expedia Group in terms of travelers and passengers.
Well, there's millions of passengers that reach out, search, visit one of our 13 different sites today. Expedia Group makes up a conglomerate, a variety of different websites that all sell different portions of travel. Our most well-known ones, hotels.com, brand Expedia, Expedia.com, and Vrbo, our vacation rental platform. But we have a bunch of others in smaller destinations as well. And so we see millions and millions of visitors to those sites on a daily basis. And through that, we have over 70 petabytes of data and insights that we collect. So we have a huge amount of first-party data, which is critical today. And that's one of our sweet spots, is we're able to use those intent signals to really target the right customers for our advertising partners. And it's that first-party data that, even Google doesn't have all that data on actual what people are doing on a travel website, which we do have.
That's why I did that question, because everybody knows how many people are using Google for travel-related queries, but probably they are not aware of the millions of people interacting with any of the Expedia brands. And in this case, we're talking about real travelers, and in more phases and more stages of the travel cycle. So clearly makes some sense to consider that the whole infrastructure website of Expedia is a fantastic advertising marketing platform.
And you just said something there. I think sometimes partners think about Expedia as a wonderful way to convert, to fill heads and beds, butts and seats on airlines. But the reality is we get people that are in the dreaming phase, thinking about travel, coming to one of the Expedia sites to learn more about where they should go. They do a lot of research and they come back time and time again. It's not that they don't visit hundreds of other websites as well, but they are visiting one of ours during that process. And so we do see them throughout the full funnel. And so we have an opportunity to really help advertisers find that customer regardless of where they are in their travel journey. And whatever solution or business objective they're trying to achieve, if it's just upper funnel awareness, it's a destination, they want to compete with another destination, and they want us to find customers that might have some interest in a beach destination. We know those people, and we can help convert them to some extent.
Yeah. Do you remember many years ago when was published the billboard effect?
The billboard effect, yes.
And it was the first time that the scientific data was clearly proof something that we all knew.
We knew it's like, they may not actually purchase one of our sites, but they visited that site, and now that's part of their awareness. It's in their subconscious, it's in their set, and they've seen it. And if you're not there, we used to always say, if you're not there, you're not going to be a part of that consideration set, because why would you be?
Totally agree. Expedia Media Solutions, if I'm not wrong, offers 6 different advertising products. Travel ads, sponsor listing, native advertising, accelerator, flight sponsor listing, passport ads, ad extension, travel spotlights, and display advertising. Could you elaborate a little bit more on each of those products?
Yeah, I would argue that they're not all. I kind of look at it. We have those different products. I look at it as kind of our solutions, and I go back to kind of the full funnel. What do we have available based on what you're trying to do? Upper, mid, bottom. And the upper funnel, on the awareness side of things, we do have display advertising. And part of display, we have native advertising that we've really spent the last couple of years on. And that's basically building wonderful experiences on our platform for advertisers that look, feel, and somewhat you get the sense that you're an Expedia, that you're part of the Expedia family throughout this native advertising. We also have just common IAB format display advertising that you can buy into as well. But the native advertising, one of our newest growth areas, converts. I mean, the click-through rate is much higher than just even the IAB display. And that's kind of our mid to upper funnel. We also have what I call booster. You want to boost your position. And you mentioned travel ads and accelerator. Those are for our lodging partners who want to, for some reason, they have a slow period to fill rooms. They have a group that fell out last minute, and all of a sudden they need help with. We have a solution for them to basically boost their positioning in our websites, in our lodging where we search results pages when you get to the lodging site. So there's really two different ways to do that. And travel ads is basically allows you, it's a CPC product that allows you to bid on an ad placement within those search results. And so depending on your bid, depends on where you're going to show up. And that ad, you create that ad so you can talk about anything you want about your property in that ad. It'll show up in the logic search results. And like I said, it's a CPC product. Then we have Accelerator, which is really a pay-per acquisition product. You don't pay unless the hotel is booked, and then you pay after through a margin increase. And that really just basically allows you to mainly move up and down sort within the search result pages. You don't necessarily get to change what you say, what your marketing material is, but based on like I said, it's a bid, but a margin bid, so you don't have to pay till after someone stays. That might be a good potential for a partner that doesn't have a big marketing budget. And a lot of our partners, independents, don't have huge marketing budgets separate from what they're trying to do. And this is a great way for them if they don't have a marketing budget, but they really do have a need period that they can actually pay for that marketing through a change in margin.
Yeah, well, actually, this shouldn't be considered as a marketing spend. It's a cost of sales. Exactly, completely related to the acquisition of the clients. I think it's a perfect solution when you don't have a huge marketing budget, as you have said.
And then you talk about one of the other products, and we call it Passport, but really it's our Audit Extension product. And as I said, there's billions of data, 70 petabytes of data, of first-party data. And as we all know, people are searching hundreds, thousands of websites. There's thousands of travel websites, related websites. And we can use that first-party data to find those travelers when they're off our sites. And so we can help target them when they've left our site based on what we've learned about them. And so it's our, like I said, audience extension product. We call it Passport, but that allows us to actually place your ad throughout the internet on other adjacent sites that are where these customers are now traveling to, looking at, and also that's display. We're looking at doing that on video too. You can your ads can show up on YouTube. They can show up on connected TV. We're testing. We're going to be testing audio. So a lot of other off-site products where we can use that first-party data to find the customer. And so our vision is really to build this one-stop shop for our customers where we are the largest travel media network. Right? I say largest. That's always great, but definitely the best return for your investment would be to come here because we could find that customer, certainly when they're on our site, one of our many sites. But when they're off our sites as well. And so we can help you find that customer, help you convert them regardless of what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Really interesting. And so with this set of, well, I think what's relevant, as you have to explain, is not to be constrained on the advertising product, but to understand as an advertiser what are your needs and define your strategy. And I guess that is one of the things that Expedia also is helping them with all the experience that it has.
Exactly. We really try to understand it. And I talk to my salespeople and others in our area. First and foremost, you need to understand what is the partner trying to sell for? What is the objective as you build this relationship with a destination marketing organization or a hotel supplier, airline, or cruise, whatever that might be. First and foremost, you need to understand what are they ultimately trying to solve for. Once you do that, we have all these different solutions, and I would argue we can solve almost any problem. But we just have to make sure that we're solving for the right thing, because I think it also comes down to how do you measure that. And that's one thing I haven't touched on, but we do a lot of time on reporting and measuring and helping everyone understand how well their advertising campaigns are doing or not doing during that period, making sure that we're making changes along the way to make sure that we are hitting all of the return on ad spend goals that you might have, and making sure that it is working for you and that it's a profitable opportunity.
You have talked about DMOs as logically one of the as relevant clients, but I guess that almost all the subverticals of the travel industry could benefit from Expedia Media Solutions, airlines, hotels. Can you elaborate a little bit about what are the typical kind of clients that you have?
Yeah, you kind of hit it. We do a lot of work with destination marketing organizations and tourist boards. They are really an area vertical of travel that has really come on big in the last few years. And part of it probably was COVID and some of the COVID relief funds that these folks had to help revitalize and rebuild travel in their destination. And I'm proud to say that we've helped a lot of these destinations do that and rebuild better than ever and get customers back. So we've spent a lot of time, and we're still thinking about how do we build new products and solutions for them directly. And so they're a good portion of where we spend our time. And like you said before, we have those products for lodging partners. We work with a lot of hoteliers, both chains, brands, regional chains, and small independents. Airlines, there's obviously a subset of airlines globally. We work with most of them. We certainly try to. We do a bit with cruise lines, rental car companies. Didn't talk about them. Car hire. We do a lot of work with car hire, both regionally and globally. And then outside, most of what we do is endemic travel. We do work with financial services companies like MasterCard, American Express that want to work with us. We do work with them. But mostly it's endemic travel for us. And part of it is because a lot of what we do is on the site, and we want to make sure that we can sell your product as well on the site. And so that would make sense, for endemic travelers to come work with us. But again, our fastest growing is DMOs and tourist boards and organizations. And I think part of that is because we've really spent time building strong relationships with whoever's in charge of those organizations and really spending the time putting the legwork in to make sure we're really understanding how we can support and understanding for some of the larger ones, they work with a variety of different agencies. And so we even have to make sure we're building a relationship with the agencies that they work with as well, so that we can all come together to develop, like I said, that solution that's going to work best for that tourism board.
Yeah, and it's important that they understand that these campaigns on Expedia obviously could have the effect of increasing the sales to that destination in Expedia. But this is not the right KPI to take into consideration. So Expedia is a media platform, and they will be helping to get more clients coming from many of the different fulfillers.
Absolutely. Of course, if we're selling the product on our side, we would love to see that go up. And certainly that's a measurement we can tell, but that's absolutely not the priority with the awareness campaign. Awareness is how many more eyeballs have now visited information about that destination and decide to book a trip somewhere at some point in time. And that's really all that destination head should be thinking about. And how can we support that mission of getting, another million travelers to my destination over the next year? What portion can we get there?
It's really important to make this distinction, because otherwise you can make the mistake of measuring awareness with transactional approach, and the timings are completely different.
The timing is different. How you measure what success, it's really difficult to do that. The best thing is, to see like an uprise in hotel bookings, but even that, like you said, it's hard to completely measure on a large awareness campaign where those people have come from, where they end up finding it.
Being the owners of Verbo, difficult to pronounce.
Verbo, yes.
We prefer HomeAway.
I got to tell you, that was one area where I went wrong when I was at Google. We worked with all of them, and they were talking about it. They asked us, the HomeAway people asked us, said they were going through all this, and they had Verbo, HomeAway, and a few others. They still did. And we were like, oh my gosh, you need to move to one. It needs to be HomeAway. That seems much more recognizable for us than the Google platform. And that was one where we missed, or they didn't listen to us. Thank goodness they didn't listen to us.
So it's we have to learn now to pronounce it, but the quality of the product was great. My question, or my reference to Verbo was related to the growth of short-term rentals, in general, alternative accommodation, and there are more professional companies on the space, more rental management companies. Have you seen these companies, these professionals, moving also to the Expedia media platform, or they are yet a little bit immature to understand your capabilities?
So I look at it as an opportunity. Didn't you say immature? So I think there's a huge opportunity, advertising side opportunity for these vacation rentals. It's a little bit nuanced because you said it right. It's either a lot of big property management companies and then a lot of independent property owners. And so how do you develop a product and solution that's going to work for both? Allows them to boost and soar, actually allows them to provide different marketing materials to support what they're trying to do in their destination. And so short answer is yes, we work with them today, and we have opportunities, certainly through display advertising. They can, advertise through us. We don't necessarily have a booster product yet in our sort for Verbo. We have Verbo had a product that they had developed years ago that property owners still use. But we're looking at now, and that's part of our roadmap, of developing something very similar to Travelthink for vacation rental, because we think there's a huge opportunity there. So hopefully, I'm hopeful that in 2024 we will have something for them that will be really important. So when I talk about this to people in the industry, they're like, sign me up. We want something like that. Property managers want somebody out there in charge of the marketing for a group of homes or a group of vacation rentals. They want something to be able to show. I mean, today, they have their ways. A lot of it is just through Google and search advertising that they spend on. But I think we could actually provide another solution.
Well, the fact is that these alternative accommodation have actually become mainstream, and in most of the cases, it's mixed in the search. It's just accommodation. We are not splitting between hotel
Right.
or you can do it. You have the filters. But in many cases, if you do not have a filter beforehand, you get all the. So I think in the travel of mind, many cases there is not that clear distinction between a hotel, a short-term rental, or vacation rental, villas, etc. So that means that they should also be ready to use part of the tools that the hotels
Well, that's what
were
I'm saying.
using.
Those kind of tools that we allow hotels to use today, even are more important for some of these. Let this home or let this group really differentiate through an advertising placement. What is different? Why would you want to stay? What do you do? Those type of things. We really think that would help. So we've got a little work on our product team is on. I'm excited. I think by 2024, it's part of our plan.
Yeah,
That we will have something like that.
it's at the other round of the corner. So,
Exactly.
so that's good. If I'm not wrong, Expedia Media Solutions offer these services to their partners: reporting and insights, targeting, media studio, and core campaigns. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
We do. Maybe I'll start with your last co-op.
Okay.
So that's an area that we have really spent some time on because I think it's hugely important for large DMOs or tourists. Canada, for instance, where they have lots of small destination resorts and a large one. How do you get everyone to participate and help, provide new visitors to all the destinations in the country? But we have these co-op campaigns where we can allow small destinations, individual cities to partake in with a large advertising campaign, and they all participate in the placement. They all participate in what they agree to pay on it, but it just allows individuals to participate together as a co-op, as a group. And so we develop these products. Like I said, mainly it's for lodging partners. Yeah, so I was talking about a little bit about co-ops, and so we do a lot of co-op. And I shared a little bit about how we work with destinations, but we do that the same with lodging partners and brands, small groups in a destination. Florida, South Florida, hotels can come together as part of the co-op advertising campaign. Each participate a bit, and then of course their money goes a lot further, and their campaign goes a lot further, and it helps the whole region. And so we have these co-op opportunities that have really been fairly successful in helping some of the independents, or not independents, but individual hotels, and help them certainly when they need awareness building in their destination.
So in this model, the platform, the media platform is Expedia, but also Expedia could be one of the Expedia as OTA is also one of the investors models.
So we can. And so then what you're talking about is we also do brand partnerships. And so, obviously Expedia spends a lot of money on its own branding and opportunities on sites and external billboards, branding models. And many times if we're doing a, let's say a campaign, a hotels.com campaign, and we want to feature hotels in Florida, we can actually ask hotel in Florida if they want to participate in this. And sometimes they'll participate on part of our campaign. And so then we'll both, show up, and instead of just showing a generic beach in Florida, we'll show beach.
Yeah, that's great because
Miami
you're actually promoting not only a destination but also products,
Exactly.
which could be easily bookable and with a lot of availability. So that's it's a very, very good idea. So we have started, or you have started talking about the co-ops. What about the rest of the services?
So you were talking about a little bit about the measurement and reporting that we offer, and we continue. It's a work in progress. But most of our products, we've started developing a pretty strong suite of tools that allow you to really see how your ad dollars are performing. Which again, coming from working in advertising for many, many years and working digital advertising, that was always the big selling point, is that it's highly measurable. And a dollar in is going to deliver so much out, and as long as you're managing that correctly, you should be spending all the time. You should be always on, because if you're always making $1 on a dollar, or whatever that might be. And so I think, we've done a great job of some building reporting into these tools. And we've got a lot on the roadmap that are really going to help tie a lot of the products together. Today, some of our reporting is somewhat individual based on the solution you're using. And my goal is to basically tie all of them together under one platform. So depending on anywhere, you can actually tie the results to whatever you're doing at any time of the day. And so that's what we're looking towards.
And how do you think that it have some impact in the Expedia Media Solutions, the changes that Google or even Apple are planning to do regarding cookies?
Well, the nice thing about it is, and I went back to, we have so much first-party data that obviously
it's your data.
It's our data, so it's first party. So you don't have to worry about, in a cookieless world, what you do with it. We have permission to find those, use that data, and so we do have somewhat of a leg up on some of the competition in that we don't, long time. Certainly we use cookies today, but I mean, at some point we are not going to be in as bad a shape as some will be when we go to completely cookieless world.
Yeah, because basically, as you have said, you have so many first data, every data, that it's absolutely
and we're
amazing.
finding new ways to use that data and target our customers on and off site every day. So we're hyper focused, because I believe, Google keeps putting it down the road a little bit, but it will happen. We both work there. It will happen. Probably next year, I think. Maybe it will be towards the end, but you need to be ready for it. And I think we are ready for it. I don't think, I know we're ready for it. I don't believe that we're actually going to be too effective when that happens.
That's supposed to be a complicated one.
Complicated.
Obviously, your marketing solution, your advertising solution are designed to adapt to the travel cycle, which is affected by the travel habits. So my question is, have you realized any main changes in those habits compared 2019 with 2023 that could even affect the way you are designing your products to affect these travel habits?
Well, there's lots of behavioral changes we've seen. First off, we went to a major change towards people wanting health and safety with a major concern for the last couple of years. And that's what everyone was looking for. It's like, oh my God, is it going to be safe to travel there? Am I going to feel protected? Am I going to feel comfortable? Am I going to be able to cancel if I need to?
Or to return from the
destination home from the reservation? Those were all the things that were just like everyone was really, really worried about. Now, arguably, that's not the case. Can I cancel? Still, somewhat of a concern, but not necessarily, because I think a lot of the new cancellation policies have stayed in place, and the flexible cancellation place. And I hope, and those were certainly consumer advantageous, and I hope some of those stay for a while. I know they do cost some of our travel partners a lot of money, or they made a lot of money on cancellation policies previously, but they don't make today. But I mean, it certainly is a much better customer experience. So hopefully, from that standpoint. But so you're seeing that, you're seeing shorter stays again, you're seeing people book longer lengths of stay, I don't want to say that, longer out than they were, during those 2 years of COVID, there was a lot of short-term bookings, and those bookings were made within a week of travel. Now you're seeing people research and book longer lead time again, which I think is good for the industry. We can plan. And I think what we're doing is just making sure that we create products and getting better at targeting and providing better personalization. I think we talk about that, but really how do you personalize that experience on our sites and off our sites so that we're actually providing the right ad to the right person at the right time based on what we know about you or what we've learned about you. And so we're spending a lot more time on that because we know, customers want that. They're looking for it.
We're not talking about targeting and addressing the right message to the right people in the right time. One of the great advantages that you have like Expedia is that the travel habits of the client.
Right.
So you are not inferring from other consumer habits where these guys would like to travel or which is the kind of trip that he normally books. No,
we know exactly. We know what they booked, what star hotels they stayed on, how long in advance they booked, who they're traveling with, how many people. That's so true. We know that data, and so we can use that in aggregated fashion to really help provide a better experience for you as the traveler. And that's one of the real reasons that you want to come to Expedia and one of the Expedia Group family. And that's one of the reasons why, as an advertiser, you want to be on that platform because we can find that high value customer. That's what it comes down to. This high value customer that spends more, that travels more, that cancels less. And those are the type of things most of our supplier partners are looking for. If you're a DMO partner, you want access to those customers as well. I mean, if you were given the choice of one person that's going to visit and really spend nothing and one that's going to spend a lot more, you'd rather take more of those that are going to spend in the destination. And we can help support that.
It's a really relevant thing regarding DMOs, especially in these times in which we have several areas, several cities suffering from tourismophobia, and it's just not only a question of how much money as a tourist is going to spend. It's also the culture or the attitude of these tourists. It's not the same. Having a tourist that wants to enjoy the local culture, be part of that, than the one that is just it's like a parachuting in the destination.
Exactly.
And no worry of anything except the low price of the alcohol. And but that's the kind of things you should try to take into consideration when you are designing your marketing strategies, trying to address to the right people and sending the right message. So,
I mean, it's interesting, because we do, but we do evolve, and we do a lot of our product evolution is based on travel surveys and sentiment studies that we do. And one that's has showed up a lot even since COVID is sustainability. It was a big deal pre-COVID. It's a big deal post-COVID, and it goes back to kind of what you're saying is. There is a lot of, certainly Gen Z, they're interested in experiences, they're interested in visiting places that are doing things to help our planet, that help climate change. They want to support that. They don't want to go someplace where it's over tourist and it's, they're having problems or they're not interested in supporting local communities. And we've seen that in the data. And this is the one that I sometimes get into good conversations about is, our data also says that travelers are willing to spend more for that or more for experiences. I think it comes down to we're trying to figure out how much. Will they really spend on some of these experiences? But certainly when you ask them, they're saying yes, we would spend more.
So the problem is that in many cases people we do not back our best wishes with dollars.
Exactly.
And we consider ourselves very environmental friendly, sustainable, but when we have to pay $10 more,
I think twice about that.
It's not so relevant. Me alone, I'm not going to change the world.
Exactly. Somebody else.
Rob, thanks again for your time, and I'm absolutely sure that you will have the same success that you have Google, which created one of the largest travel industries. Let's say advertising focused on travel agencies and help as well many large travel companies to success. I'm sure that what you are going to do in Expedia for the second time. I love what you said, you were a boomerang.
Boomerang.
I like that. But it just, in your case, it's good to be a boomerang. I'm pretty sure that in Expedia, I'm really happy to have you on board again. And we will be talking again in 2024. So you will be talking, you can
Let's
tell
see.
me the new product related to short-term rentals.
Hopefully, I'll be able to say this is out there now, and it's all.
And now, just last thing, I wish you the best. We're having this conversation in Barcelona. Just when the Explore Connect 23 from Expedia is going to take place. So all the success as well in this really
Thank you very much.
interesting conference.
We're very excited that we brought this to Barcelona, and hopefully our partners will agree after a couple of days together that it was a success. But it's great to see you. That's more importantly, get to see
Yes,
my friend in Spain. Yes, so good.
Travelthink is a non-profit initiative launched and managed by Dr. Javier Gonzalez-Soria in 2006, focused on new trends, innovation, and startups in the travel tech space. Thousands of professionals receive the Travelthink news, where travel top leaders and entrepreneurs share their insights and reflections.